This is going to be part 1 of 2 because I've read quite a few books recently. Hi everyone, I'm here today to discuss some of the books that I have read recently. The first one that I've got is this one. This is The Boy Who Stole Time by Mark Bosher. This is about 12-year-old Chris who finds out that his mum is dying and he's desperate to get some extra time with her, so he makes a deal with a devil-like creature and his adventure begins. So he is trying to get the essence of time itself in order to extend his time with his mum. This is the story of one boy's hope and a magical journey that he takes across a completely different realm to our own. He makes friends with Balthria, a young female wizard who I really like. I think she was my favourite character in the book. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil it for you. I would say this was YA, and as my daughter gets a bit bigger I'm going to read this with her as well. It's filled with quests and magic. It's not all light and fluffy, it can be a little bit dark, but I enjoyed that and I thought this was a really fun read. And the way that Mark Bosher uses language, I really enjoyed it. I found that he made the unbelievable believable, and that's what you need in a fantasy novel. I wrote a full blog post about this book which I will try and remember to link down below. If I forget, I do link my blog in the description bar of every single video that I upload, so it will be in there and you will be able to find it. But yeah, that's The Boy Who Stole Time. The next book that I've got is this one, The Darkest Day. Now, this is by, I think you say it as Harkin Nessa. I read this back before Christmas. As I've said, it's been a while since I filmed a wrap up, and this was definitely dark. This was unexpected, very unexpected. So it's a Swedish crime thriller and it's about the Hermansson family, and they've gathered together for a big birthday celebration. The father of the family is celebrating his birthday and the eldest daughter is celebrating her birthday too. I'm pretty sure it was the 40th and the 70th. So they're having a big celebration with the extended family, with the children and their children. And during the course of this celebration, 2 of the family members go missing. So obviously that's a bit strange when you're having a family get together and 2 of your family go missing. So we now have to find out, are they linked, where have they gone, what's happened to them, and that is the job of Inspector Barbarotti. So half of the book is dedicated to the family and their thoughts and feelings and what's going on, and the other half is dedicated to Inspector Barbarotti and his thoughts and feelings and what he's getting up to. So it's a split narrative, so if you're not into that you might not enjoy this, but I thought this was quite an interesting read and it was very unexpected. I will say I wasn't quite ready for what I read within these pages. Not a lot shocks me, but this one did and I quite enjoyed it. It's suspenseful, it's unusual, it's quite a long read. Let me see, how long was it? 534 pages, so it's quite a long read. It was quite a meaty thing to get through, and I thought it was the perfect winter read because it was set during the December time and it was just entrenched with very wintry imagery, which I really enjoy at this time of year. Very snowy, very cold, very atmospheric, and yeah, I enjoyed it. So that was The Darkest Day. The next book that I'm going to talk about is this one, An Island Christmas by Jenny Colgan. This, I did not know when I hauled this that this was actually a sequel. I had no idea, and it was pointed out to me, and I felt pretty stupid because I had been quite excited to read this, but I needn't have worried. I read it as a standalone. There are some parts that I didn't quite get and you could tell that there was something I should have possibly have read in a previous novel, but overall I still really enjoyed this and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. So this is about Flora, who is on a remote Scottish island. It's Christmas time and she is pregnant with her boss's child, but she hasn't told anybody about it yet. Also, meanwhile, there is Saif, a doctor who has come from war-torn Syria, and he is on the island as well, and he's experiencing his first Western Christmas. I really enjoyed the fast-paced narrative. It was easy to get a grip with who the characters were. It was easy to sort of get embroiled in what was going on, and I just found it a fun and easy read, especially around the Christmas time, and I'm glad I picked that up. The next book that I read was this one, One Day in December by Josie Silver. This is about Laurie, who spots a man out of the window of a bus and instantly falls head over heels in love with him. And she doesn't know why, but she's instantly drawn to this man and she wants to get off the bus and see him, but she doesn't, and she regrets it. So she spends the next year of her life sort of loosely looking for him in bars and things like that around the general area where she goes out with a friend. And then a year later she's introduced to him by chance at a party. And at this point Laurie decides that she's going to let him go and get on with her life, but can she? And this book led me down a complete different path. I was expecting it to be extremely Christmassy. Only a little bit of the book is actually set at Christmas time. So if you wanted to pick this up at any other time of the year, you still can do, because it's not completely a Christmassy book. It wasn't your typical romance and it really broke my heart. I I really cried at this. I wasn't expecting that, and I certainly wasn't expecting what happens in this book, and honestly some of it just left me bereft. I've never been so devastated whilst reading a book since Marley and Me, I think, which I won't be reading ever again. Never again, let me just say that. But anyway, back to this one. I give this 4 out of 5 stars, and I really enjoyed it, and I'd be interested to know if you read it as well and what you thought of it. The last book that I'm going to talk about in part 1 of this wrap up is this one, Love As Always Mum by Mae West. This is a book that I have been desperate to get my hands on. If you watch my channel a lot, you will know that I love a non-fiction. I can't get enough of it, and especially non-fiction crime and yes. So this is the story of Mae West, who was the daughter of Fred and Rose West, 2 of Britain's most prolific serial killers. If you don't know who Fred and Rose West are, I suggest a quick Google because I'm just going to give you a brief overview. Basically, Fred and Rose used to pick up women and have them come to their house. Then they would sexually assault them, torture them and murder them, and then bury them within the house, and then have their children sleep in a room that's got bodies underneath it. And it's non-fiction. It's horrific. And obviously, growing up in a household like that, you'd expect there to be a lot of abuse, a lot of inappropriate behaviour, and there was. Fred and Rose West also killed one of their own daughters, Mae's older sister, Heather, and she was buried in the garden. So this is a horrific read. It's not for the faint of heart, and it's unreal. However, I did find it a little bit bizarre by the fact that Mae keeps insisting on sticking up for a mum for the majority of the book. I found that to be appalling, considering some of the abuse that she receives at the hand of a mum, and also the abuse that she knows her sisters have received at the hands of her mum, and yet she still sides with her mum. So that really annoyed me, really did. But overall, because I'm interested in the case, I really enjoyed the book and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. But again, if you have read this, please let me know if you found it really bizarre how much she stuck by her mum. Yeah, so that is Love As Always Mum, and yeah, if you've read this, let me know. So that's it for part 1 of this really unglamorous wrap up where I'm sat in my pyjamas and I will see you all in part 2 where I will still be in my pyjamas. Bye for now.